What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John and this is John Paul Investing. What we're going to cover in this video is an overview as to why Nano Dimension is valuable and why you should own a piece of Nano Dimension, at least $100 in your portfolio, and just sit on it, forget about it, don't think too much about it. Stay educated. That's the best way to feel comfortable with your investment and, not feeling the need to ask people who don't know anything about it what their opinion is. Real quick, if you have not already, make sure to check the links in the video description to get your free stocks. And also, I did start a consulting business, so if you're looking to break into tech sales or any kind of remote work for that matter, make sure you go ahead and visit my website, johnpaulinvesting.com. These are high-paying remote jobs that you can get from anywhere in the world, and they are extremely lucrative and have high compensation potential. So if that is something you are genuinely interested in, it's not for everybody, but if you think it's for you, then make sure to check out my website and we can get the ball rolling for you. They specialize in 3D printing of electronics. From the ground up, they are able to print fully functional electronics using their proprietary conductive silver inks, and then they also have their own proprietary dielectric ink, which does not conduct electricity, which gives whatever they print its structure. So like what you're used to seeing with 3D printers, like printing out plastic pieces, it's like what holds everything together. So Nano Dimension has a digital manufacturing strategy that uses industrial 3D printed electronics to succeed. So what does this mean for them? Well, as a smarter solution, it quite literally is a smart solution for them. If you were not aware, they have DeepCube as their AI functionality that integrates with their current system that improves their printing processes. Deep learning AI for fully automated processes. And this includes real-time monitoring and automatic correction of printing and assembly. There's more uptime, there's better productivity, and a higher yield. We have optimized material usage and distributed self-learning networks of machines across your lab or enterprise. So essentially, the machines are checking everything to make sure that it's printing where it needs to be printed, the accuracy is as accurate as it needs to be, and of course, it is learning and making sure that if it makes a mistake, it corrects that mistake the next time forward. The innovation behind Nano Dimension. Design products like never before. Remove design constraints for new applications and unique shapes in 3D space. Explore the possibilities within miniaturization and weight reduction, and deliver new, previously unimaginable parts and devices for electronics, aerospace, medical, and a plethora of other industries. In summary, they are essentially giving you the capability to prototype things that you otherwise would not be able to do so simply with traditional processes. This is a way for you to break into new ideas without having to put so much upfront to turn it into a real-life tangible idea. So knowing that there's a lot less steps in making a prototype, Nano Dimension's AME or additive manufacturing of electronics delivers significant environmental improvement over traditional production. We have 82% less chemicals used, 98% less raw materials used, 50% less energy expended on making the same thing, and 99% less waste. So this could be from the shavings and things that you get from actually making printed boards. This could be from energy usage from overhead at a factory just to keep the lights on and to make sure that all the devices and printing presses or whatever it may be, to make sure it's working. I don't think printed press is the right term, but you know what I mean. There's less raw materials used because they're not using traditional materials to make, traditional circuit boards. They're using their proprietary materials that they make in-house that you can go straight from the nozzle to a fully functional product. And then there's a lot less mixing of chemicals to make things bond and stick where they need to. As far as chemicals used, they're going to be using substantially less there as well. With this potentially being a paradigm shift in the way prototypes for electronics are made, they are able to rewrite the economic equation for production. So it's only taking you days, not weeks or months to generate a brand new prototype. You'll significantly save time and cost throughout the process with tool-free, low volume and high mix processes. You will reduce the reliance on supply chains through localized and distributed production. So you're not having to rely on third parties to get your prototype to life. And you're eliminating delays caused by human or machine error. So, like we said, it's part of the supply chain process. If you have less people to worry about to get your thing to market, of course, no one's going to have the best interest like you do in, creating your prototype. So this eliminates a whole bunch of points of failure in the prototype process, or at least, delays at the end of the day. So as some of you may or may not know, the Dragonfly IV is their flagship printer. This is the reinvention of the electronics production industry with additive manufacturing of electronics. So they are able to essentially squeeze a full factory of 3D printing into a single box that's pretty much the size of a couple refrigerators. Granted, they're smaller refrigerators, but two of them kind of put together makes this. We also had the addition of the Fabrica 2.0, which is the micro resolution additive manufacturing. I don't think this is for electronics quite yet, but I'm sure they'll get to that point. But this is more so for high precision micro part applications, so like extremely small gears. They have pictures online showing little mini pyramids that are in high resolution, but they're the size of a grain of rice, but with unprecedented accuracy. It's pretty cool looking. In addition to these, we have the Admaflex, which is a large build volume and unique capability to 3D print both advanced ceramics and metals. So they have more material capability here, but not quite the electronic process that they have right now. So again, they are kind of expanding their outreach. And we have the pick and place, which is more so for soldering and the assembly of electronics, which is actually kind of a big deal. If anyone knows more about these, leave a comment in the comment section so we can kind of get educated and understand a little more about, what it is they plan on doing with this. So ultimately, Nano Dimension has a very unique product offering. They're well off as far as assets against their liabilities. They have, over 1.2 billion in assets right now. Let's go to the quarterly for more accurate figures. Even on a quarterly scale, we are still looking at $1.2 billion in assets with 45 million roughly, or 44.5 million to be a little more precise. And for those of you who were not aware, your total assets will always be your liabilities and stockholders' equity combined. So if you add these two, you will get this number, or vice versa. Let's say you have your assets, your total assets, and then you weren't sure what your equity is, well, then you'll just deduct the liabilities and then you'll get the same number. But just remember, these two will always add up to this. And look who's on the right, Sensonics. Now, as far as ideal price to buy Nano Dimension, ultimately, if you're putting $100 in to Nano Dimension, it's going to be pretty easy for you to just buy it and forget it. If you're putting $100 in Nano Dimension, ultimately, you're really not going to think too much about it. Today's price, you're going to get close to, I would say, 40 shares, actually closer to 30 shares. So I wouldn't worry too much. But as far as day trading goes and, identifying support and resistance, we know 220-ish area. Remember, these lines are not going to be perfect lines. It's more of an area. So we did have price react pretty aggressively each time it came to these areas. And same thing on the top side for this line of resistance around $3. We did see some aggressive, I would say, relative to Nano Dimension's price. We saw some aggressive pullbacks. If we look back, the most recent rise was actually not too long ago, back in the end of June. And we did see this rise in price. So you could have made some money on the day trade side, but it has now broken within this range that we were kind of stuck in. So I wouldn't be looking for any buying opportunities as a day trader until we get lower to 230, 240, and of course the lower the better, but you're never going to catch the bottom perfectly. So within these ranges down here would be ideal, but at the end of the day, if you're planning on exiting or holding and your targets are sweeping these previous highs that we had back during the bull market, then it's going to be as simple as dollar cost averaging your way in and just being consistent with it. And ultimately, you're going to increase your position size while simultaneously lowering your cost basis. The further on price stays sideways and you just continue buying in. And this way, if the price does rise to, let's say, $3, $4, you've already built a majority of your position under $3. So it's really not going to make too much of an impact if you had to buy a few additional shares at $3 or at $4, at $5, or whatever it may be down the road. Now, ideally, as far as an ideal price, we want to see them making money. The more profitable they are, the higher that top line gets, then the more their stock price is going to be justified, the higher it goes. Now, if you guys had any questions, if I did not already mention earlier in the video, just visit johnpaulinvesting.com. You will see my socials. I did start a consulting business for people who want to break into tech sales and remote work in general. I can be a resource in getting your resume polished, optimizing your LinkedIn for better search results from recruiters, and a plethora of other things that are going to get you that dream job that you've always wanted. So if that interests you, make sure you check out my website, johnpaulinvesting.com. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you derived any value from my video today. And also while you're at it, make sure to hit the bell notification to make sure that you're notified when I make videos just like this one. That is it for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.